LeetCode Problem 121, Best Time to Buy and Sell Stock. Hey everyone, this is KeyStrokes. I'm a senior software engineer at one of the FAANGs, and I like to make videos on LeetCode problems and programming puzzles and anything and everything about computer science. And today we'll take a look at LeetCode's problem 121, which is called Best Time to Buy and Sell Stock, and it's an easy problem. So let's take a look at the problem statement. We are given an array, and each element of the array represents the price for that given day, and the day is basically the index of the array. Our goal is to figure out how we can buy and sell one stock so that we can maximize the profit. For the first example here, we can see we are given this array of prices, and the expected output is 5. And if we take a look at the explanation, it says to buy on day 2 when the price is 1, which is right here, and then it says to sell on day 5 when price is 6, which we can see right here. Now if you're buying here and selling here, the profit will be 6 minus 1, which then becomes 5. It also mentions that we cannot buy on day 2 and sell on day 1 because you cannot sell something that you don't have. In the real world, maybe you can do that, but in the scope of this problem, we are not allowed to do so. Let's take a look at the second example here, where this is the array, and in this case, the output is 0. And that's because there are no valid transactions here where you can buy and sell and actually make a profit. If you look at the array, it's in decreasing order. So if you buy the stock on any day, you'll see that the price just keeps going down. So it's better to not to buy anything, and then your maximum profit just becomes 0. So let's take a look at everything that you need to know to solve this problem. You need to know how to use for loops, and you need to know how to work on arrays. So let's do some brainstorming and see how we can solve this problem. Okay, so let's say these are the prices that were given to us for each of the days. For 0th day, the price is 7, for first day the price is 1, and so on all the way to the 5th day when the price is 4. Now because we know all the prices for all the days that we have to work with, we can figure out if we want to buy a stock, let's say on the first day, then what's the maximum price we'll see in the future to sell it. So let's say if you buy a stock on the first day, the maximum price we know we can see in the future is 6. So what if we work from the farthest day that we know, that is day 5 here, and keep a track of the maximum price that we have seen so far and go all the way to the 0th day, and that's how we'll know for a given day what's the maximum price that we are going to see in the future. So let's create a new array. So let's call it max price in future, which will be the same length array, but this time we started from the end. We can have a variable that tracks the max price we have seen so far. So let's call it max price, and we can initialize it to 0, let's say, because the price cannot be negative, but this could be any low number, including negative values. So if we start our iteration, we start from day 5, which is from the end, and then we look at the price for that day, which is 4. Now is 4 the max price we have seen so far? And yes, that is. So if we update this max price to be 4, and then we basically take this max price and populate this array max price in future and put 4 here. Now we go to the 4th day, and we can see the price there is 6, and 6 is greater than max price. So we update our max price to be 6 this time, and then we update our max price in future array with this max price that we have seen. So this becomes 6 as well. Now let's go to the 3rd day. Now over here, the price we see is 3, and 3 is smaller than the max price we know so far, which is 6. So we do not update our max price. And so for the 3rd day, we can say confidently that in the future, there will be a day when the price will be 6, which is the max price that we have made note of. So in our max price in future array, for day 3, we can put 6 as the max price that we'll see in the future. Now going to the second index, the price we see here is 5. Now again, this price is less than the max price, so we don't update our max price. And again, we can confidently say that in the future, at day 2, the max price we'll ever see for this stock will be 6. And we do the same for the first index, where the price is 1 is smaller than max price. So we update our max price in future for first day to be 6, because that's the value we'll see as max in the future. Now coming to the 0th index, we see that the price is 7, so the max price should be updated because 7 is the max price we have seen so far. So this becomes 7 now, and the max price we'll ever see in the future for day 0 is 7. Now this max price in future includes the current day in the future as well, but we don't have to do that. But that won't really change the answer, because if we track our current day as the future, the profit that we get is 0 because we buy and sell on the same day. Whereas if we don't track the current day's price as the future price as well, then we'll just get a negative profit, which we'll ignore again. Now, after we have this max price in future array ready for us, we can do another iteration. Now this time starting from the 0th day all the way to the 5th day. And for each day, we calculate how much profit we can make. So let me clean this up a little. So now we create another variable. Let's call it max profit. And the max profit that we can start with is 0. And our profit should never go below 0, as the minimum profit we can make is 0 by not selling or buying any stock. So let's see. We start with our iteration from the 0th day. If we buy a stock on this day, it will cost us 7. And if we sell it sometime in the future, the max price we can get is 7. So the profit we can get for this day is 0. And let me just label this as profit so that we know that these are all profits. Now 0 is the profit, and the max profit we know so far that's possible is 0. So there's nothing to change for max profit. Now let's move on to the first day. Now here, if you buy a stock at price 1, we know we can sell it in the future for a price of 6, which gives you a profit of 6 minus 1, which is 5. Now 5 is definitely larger than the max profit we know so far, so we update our max profit to be 5. Now similarly, for our next day, which is day 2, we can buy a stock for 5 and sell it in the future for 6. So our profit becomes 6 minus 5, which is 1. Now 1 is less than the max profit, so we don't update our max profit. Now going to the 3rd day, similar idea, buy at 3, sell at 6, the profit becomes 3. Now 3 is again smaller than max profit, so nothing to do here. Now for day 4, we can buy a stock at 6 and sell it on the same day for 6. And our profit basically becomes 0, so nothing to update here either. And the same for day 5. Buy and sell for the same price, so our profit is 0. So the max profit that we are seeing here that we'll get is 5, and that basically becomes our answer. Now just another quick example. If our prices, let's say if they were in decreasing order, so let's say 5, 4, 3, then our max price in future, that will become 5, 4, 3 as well. Because on this day, the maximum price we can see in the future is 3. For this day, the maximum price in the future is 4, and the same for this day. Now, if you buy or sell any stock here, the max profit we can ever have is 0, and so the max profit overall is always 0, basically where you do not buy or sell any stocks. So in such cases, you will rather not do any trading, and your profit will remain at 0. Okay, so here's the pseudocode for the solution. We start with the input here, which gives you the price of the stock for each day. And then we create a new array, max price in future. And this array will basically track for a given day, what's the maximum price that we'll see in the future. And to populate this max price in future, we'll do a for loop, and we'll use this variable called max so far, and we can initialize it to a negative value to start with. Now we start our loop. We start from the end of the prices array and go all the way to the 0th index, and we run it from the end because we need to know what's the maximum possible value in the future. So it's always better to start from the farthest known price that we have. So we start our iteration from end of the array to the 0th index, and then we update the maximum we have seen so far by using math.max on what we know, what the max is so far, and the price for that day. And then we basically update our max price in future for that day to the max we have seen so far. So after this loop is done, max price in future should store prices that we'll see in the future. That will be the maximum. Now, once we have this array, we initialize the variable max profit as 0. And then for each day, we check what profit can we make. So we start a loop from the 0th index all the way to the last element of the prices array. And then we calculate the profit for that day, which will be the max price in future that we'll see starting from today and the price for today itself. So basically we buy today and we sell for a price that we'll see sometime in the future that we can find in this array. Once we know the profit that we'll make today, we'll just update our max profit to be math.max of the max profit we have so far, and in case today's profit is higher than the max profit we have seen. And after this loop is done, our max profit should have the maximum profit that we can make, considering we buy a stock today and sell it for the maximum price that we might see in the future. And so in the end, we just return the max profit. Okay, so let's jump into our IDE and let's code the solution out. And if you've been liking the explanation so far, then please don't forget to like this video and to subscribe to my channel. And you can show me your support by buying me some coffee or by joining Patreon. I also offer a consultation through one-on-ones, and I can help you if you want to learn how to code, if you want to prepare for interviews, or any computer science topics like data structures, algorithms, etc. Or if you just want to consult on your project ideas and how to execute them. I can also help out with ChatGPT integration and all the new trending machine learning ideas. and basically anything and everything about computer science. So please feel free to reach out to me using the form, and you can find all the links in the description. Anyhow, let's jump into our IDE and code a solution. Okay, so here's LeetCode, and this is the solution class that we have to work with. So copying this and jumping into IntelliJ, and I'll replace the solution class that I've already have, and let's implement this method here. So we are given an array of prices, which is all integers, and we need to return another integer, which is the maximum profit that's possible by buying and selling one stock. So let's first start by creating an array. Let's call it max in future, which will basically track the maximum price that's possible in the future. Let's do a new int, and the size of this can be the same as the size of the prices array. Now let's create a variable called max so far, which will track the maximum value we have seen of the stock so far. Now let's start a loop, which will be for each day, and we'll start from the end of the array. So we'll do prices -1, basically prices dot length -1, and the day should be greater than equal to 0. That is, go all the way to the beginning, and we'll keep decrementing our day. Now in here, we'll update our max so far to be math.max of the max so far we have seen, and the price of the stock for that day. And then we'll update our max in future for the current day to be the max that we have seen so far. Now after this loop, max in future will contain the maximum stock price that's possible in the future. Now because we have that, let's see if we can make any profit if we buy a stock today and sell it for the maximum price that we'll see in the future. Now to do that, let's first create a variable that will track the maximum profit that we can have, and the minimum profit we can have is 0, so that's what we'll initialize it to, because if we don't do any trade, that's the least profit we should have. Now let's start our for loop. We start with day 0 and go all the way to prices.length, and in here let's see what profit can we have for today. So let's see, profit today will be, if we are buying the stock today, the price will be prices day, and if we sell it, the maximum price you can sell it for is max in future for today, and we basically subtract the buying price. So we sell it for this max price we'll see in the future, and we buy it for today's price, and this basically becomes our profit for today. Now let's update our max profit to be math.max of the max profit we have seen so far, and if today's profit can be maximum as well. So let's see, for each day we have tried to buy a stock and sell it at the highest price we can see in the future, and then we update our max profit variable so that we can track the maximum profit we can make. And then after this loop is done, we just need to return our max profit, and that should be it. In the main class here, I have some of the examples from LeetCode, which uses the solution class. So let's run these base cases and see if they pass. And yes, it says correct answer for all of them. So let's copy this code and go over to LeetCode and submit it. So copying this, going to LeetCode and replacing this method here, and let's run it for the base cases first. And we can see that they were all accepted. So now let's submit the solution for the actual test cases and see if it succeeds. And yeah, looks like all the test cases passed, and LeetCode was happy with our solution. Okay, so that's all I had for this video. I hope you found this problem interesting and that the video was helpful in explaining how to solve the problem. And if it did, then please don't forget to like the video and to subscribe to my channel, and you can follow me on Twitter, and you can show me your support by buying me some coffee or joining me on Patreon. And please feel free to reach out to me for any consultations by filling out the form in the description. I'm working on the next video, and this should be coming out soon. In the meantime, check out the video on the screen. You might have fun solving it. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll see you next time.